Hey, I want to tell you a family story that's been in my family for a long time. This happened in the 50s or 60s at my grandparents' house in Nacogdoches, Texas. So my grandfather, CB, we called him partner, and my grandmother, we called her Nanny. Her name was Ruth. And some cousins would show up. Actually, they were my cousins, but because of their age, I called them Aunt Mary Jo and Uncle Jerry from Chicago, and Bob and Kathy from Fort Worth. Well, they showed up at Thanksgiving one year, and one more important person was Aunt Big. That was Aunt Vera, and she lived with my grandparents, and she didn't allow drinking at all. She didn't tolerate no drinking around her. So at holidays, people like to maybe drink some whiskey or drink some kind of drink. So my grandmother told my my aunt and uncle from Fort Worth, Bob and Kathy, hey, I got something to show you in the back. So she goes to her bathroom, and she goes to her bathroom and looks behind the towels, and there's a bottle of Old Forester Green Label whiskey. Now, the reason I said Green Label is because they had Red Label and Green Label, or Red Stamp and Green Stamp. Back then, they paid a tax stamp on there. If you don't know about the whiskey stamps back then, the Green Stamp was a 100 proof whiskey, and the Red Stamp was 80 proof whiskey. Anyway, she poured them some in a glass that she kept there by the sink. They all three finished that glass off together, and then they poured some Listerine in that glass and all washed their mouth out with that Listerine to keep Aunt Vera from detecting that they've been drinking. So my granddad took Aunt Mary Jo and Uncle Jerry back to his bathroom and pulled out a bottle from behind the towels, poured some in the sink, went through the same routine. They all three drank the whiskey, and then they poured some Listerine in the glass, and all three rinsed their mouth out with that Listerine. Well, this went on back and forth, each of my grandparents taking each couple one at a time to their bathrooms, and they'd been back and forth about 4 times. Well, one time they passed in the hall, and Aunt Kathy said, "Are y'all going back for more whiskey?" And my Uncle Jerry says, "Yes, we are, but I don't think I can take any more of the Listerine." Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the story. It's been in my family for a long time. I wanted to pass it on to future generations of my family, and I thought you might enjoy it also. If you've got a story that's similar, or a funny story from your family, feel free to leave it in the comments. If you thought this was funny, comment. Even if you didn't, I don't care. Try to be kind. If you like the content, like and subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you won't miss another one of my videos. Have a great day.